And the instrument that we just heard is called khene. Khene is traditional instrument unique to Laos and Northeast Thailand. We use this for many different types of ceremonies and festivals. Our first story tonight is about the origin of khene. But first, let me give you the traditional Lao riddle. Let's see if we can get the answer. Listen carefully. Long ago, there was a family, a father and 10 sons. The father knew that he was about to die, but he wanted to give the property to the best son. One morning, he called his sons in. Sons, I will give each of you the bean seeds. Whoever grows the best beans, I will give you the property. They all went away. A month later, they came back. The first son came with a big basket of green beans. The father was impressed. The second one came with another basket of green beans too. The father was also impressed. So they kept coming and coming until the last one, he came with nothing. Sorry, father, I have nothing to give you. Don't worry, my son. I will give you the property. Do you know why? Why the father gave the property to the last son who had no beans to give back to him in return after they harvested or something?
He didn't like beans.
I'm sorry?
He didn't like beans.
No way.
He was honest. He was honest.
I'm sorry?
He was honest.
Okay. I'm interested in that. Can you tell me more details about that?
Anybody? Tag team? You probably didn't. The beans weren't right or anything. They couldn't grow, and there was one son that was honest about it. That's good. Yeah, that's true. Good team.
How did you know that? I'm impressed.
Is it the right answer?
Yes, definitely is correct. Yeah, I can add in more about that. Yes, the reason why, because the father testing them, which meant all the beans that he gave to his sons were boiled or cooked beforehand. Like a dead seeds couldn't grow. He testing them. So when 10 boys went back home trying to plant and nothing happened. 9 sons, they really want the property and they became very naughty. They went to the market and they bought some green beans from somebody there to show to the father. They're lying. And so the last one came with nothing because he was the one who told the truth. Or he was the one who was honest. Honestly, once again. Alright, let me start with the first story. So, once upon a time, there was a hunter out hunting deer in the forest. He hadn't caught anything for a long time. One day, he decided to go to the forest again. He went deep and deep into the thick forest. It was dark. there were spiderwebs in his eyes, and many dangerous animals like tigers and lions, and mosquitoes as big as his hand. He kept going and going. Finally, he arrived at the clearing where there were few trees. And he sat down, relaxed, looked up to the sky, felt the sunshine on his face. Suddenly, he heard a beautiful sound from high up in the trees. That was Garavek bird, a magic bird. The man was amazed and ran home as fast as he could. When he arrived at his village, out of breath, many people came to see him. As soon as he caught his breath again, he told them what he had heard. So some people were amused, and others were offended by lying. They thought he was lying. And yet others, well, they were just hungry for deer. But one girl, a young, beautiful widow, she was enchanted. She asked the hunter if she could accompany with him on his next trip or not. The hunter said, agreed. So when the time came, the hunter and the girl set out together. They arrived at the clearing, but he was silent. They saw the Garavek bird high up in the same trees, but no noise. So they waited and waited. At last, they heard the beautiful sound from Garavek bird again. So the girl was enchanted and falling deeply in love with the sound. When the songs finished, she knew that she couldn't live without that sound, and that she knew that she could neither capture the bird nor stay out in the forest forever. And then she had an idea. She would invent an instrument that produces a sound like bird. So she returned home and experimented many different types of instruments. She tried this and that and that. Nothing happened. It was hopeless. Finally, she blew through small pieces of bamboo that she had cut. And she had it. It was amazing sound. Dr. Ba. She played all day and all night whenever she had time. When the neighbors heard her songs, they were enchanted too. Soon her songs expanded through the village, and many people would gather outside her house to listen to her songs. And soon after that, the king heard about this beautiful instrument. He ordered her to his court. I have heard people talking about your songs, said the king. They say your songs are very famous. Play me your songs. Of course, the girl played a very beautiful song to him. When the songs finished, she looked at the king to see his reaction. I have listened as you had played, said the king. This is good, but not good enough. Play me some more. Of course, the girl played another, then another, until she had exhausted her repertoire. And indeed, exhausted herself. When the songs finished with aching her fingers and tired her lungs, and she looked at the king again, this time the king a little smile. เก่งหลายเทียนี้แคนแดนไป Good job. This time was better. So, can means better. This is where the name of the instrument comes from. What's that? Okay. So, this story introduces a few interesting features of Lao folktales. Firstly, it's about the feeling of loving something beautiful. And of course, it's a common theme in tales all over the world, not just in Laos. And secondly, it's about forest. Forest is very important to Lao folktales. And so much of the country is covered by forests for a long, long time. Even today, you can still see Luang Prabang surrounded by forest. And lastly, it's about the king. Laos used to be a kingdom. The kingdom of Lan Xang. Lan Xang means land of million elephants. The kingdom was established in 1353 by the king Fa Ngum. It's a bit difficult to pronounce his name. Try to pronounce it with me. Listen to me first. Fa Ngum. Aha, once again. Oh, okay, wow. Very good. You may have seen his name even in the map of Luang Prabang city, or if you go to the main street just outside the post office, you may see his name on the street sign. And he's a very important king. As you would expect for the first king of such an ancient kingdom, there is an ancient story about him. So, as the first son of the king of the kingdom before Lan Xang, people were very excited by the birth of Fa Ngum. However, the excitement became very quick shock because he was born with 33 teeth. At that time, people believed if someone was born that way, it meant he or she would bring the bad luck. The king asked for advice from many of Mordu or astrologer, and they all said the same thing. The boy must go, the boy must live. If he doesn't, something bad would happen with the kingdom. Of course, the king was very sad to hear that. But because he was worried about the safety of the kingdom in the future, he agreed. So they built a boat, like bamboo boats, and had a great ceremony. The boy was off down the Mekong. As you can see, the Mekong in the town at the moment is very sleepy and very calm. But a little bit afterwards, there are many dangerous rabbits. even though for skilled or experienced fishermen still dangerous. But for a little boy alone in a boat, it's a death. And yet the boy survived. He went on a great adventure all the way down to Khmer Kingdom, which is now we call Cambodia or Cambodia. In the Khmer Kingdom, the king saw that he was a special child, so he took care of him as his own son. The boy grew up as a prince. When he was a young man, he married a Khmer princess. Her name Xieng Mieng. They lived together in the kingdom for many years, and they had luxury things and everything they needed. But something troubled with the prince. He was so sad. He couldn't finish his meals and couldn't sleep at nights. And for long time, he couldn't understand why he was so sad. Finally, he found this. He was homesick. So sad. As soon as he knew this, he couldn't continue stay in Angkor Wat anymore. When he was 37, he and his wife returned here, Luang Prabang, where he was born. He established the kingdom of Lan Xang and brought the Buddhism as the religion. At that time, the kingdom was one of the most powerful kingdoms in the region, and Fa Ngum was one of the most powerful kings. He ruled the kingdom for 20 years until something happened, which meant he had to stop. One day, before she was born, his wife, Xieng Mieng, died. And after this, he was so sad, so heartbroken, that he couldn't continue ruling the kingdom anymore. And so ends the story of Fa Ngum. But this is only the beginning of the story of Luang Prabang. The name Prabang came from Prabang Buddha, a statue which was given from Angkor Wat to Lan Xang. Luang just means capital. Luang Prabang was the capital of Laos before it was moved to Vientiane. Even though it isn't the capital anymore, it's still very special for the whole other people all over the country. For example, there is a popular folk song, it's called Kaptum Luang Prabang. It mentions about a man from outside Luang Prabang who was to be the husband of Luang Prabang woman. again, this is we call cartoon Luang Prabang. It's very popular. Usually it has men and women singing together, and usually it's longer too. I sing short version tonight is because this sleeping. Singing and storytelling is still a popular form of entertainment all over the country. And the most popular character in Laos stories is called Xieng Mieng. Xieng Mieng was a clever young man. He was supposed to be the most clever man in the whole kingdom of Lan Xang, but he was very naughty. He learned to play tricks on people, especially on the king. In one story, the king called Xieng Mieng for a meeting. Xieng Mieng, I want you to come tomorrow morning. Come very early. Come before the rooster crows. Your Majesty, you want me to come before the rooster? Yes, that's right, before the rooster. The next morning, Xieng Mieng still stayed in bed even longer than usual. A little bit after lunch, he goes to the king's palace and he walks in with his hands behind his back. Xieng Mieng, why are you so late? Your Majesty, I am not late, said Xieng Mieng. And then he shows the king what he has behind his back. It's a rooster on a rope. See, Your Majesty, I came before the rooster just like you said. Very naughty. And another story of Xieng Mieng. This time the king makes challenge for Xieng Mieng. He challenges Xieng Mieng to trick him into getting into the pond, like fish pond. Xieng Mieng, if you can do this, then I will admit that you are the most clever man in the whole kingdom of Lan Xang. Your Majesty, I will not try to trick you into the pond. However, if you were in the pond already, I'm sure I can make you come out. All right, said the king, and he got into the pond. Xieng Mieng, if you are the most clever man in the whole kingdom of Lan Xang, make me come out. Well, Your Majesty, why would I do that? After all, I just tricked you into the pond. Did you know? Very naughty. Also. We also have many stories that explain about the origin of natural features. For example, the Mekong was created as a truce between two fighting nagas or dragons or water serpents. One naga named Sisuton was very angry when his friend gave him a gift of porcupine meat. Naga Sisuton had never seen a porcupine before and thought the long hair sticking out of the meat was the bone. He saw a small amount of meat and the big long hair of bone and thought his friend was very stingy. So he started a great big fight, which is only finished when the gods got involved. They told them to stop fighting, to keep them separated and made them dig 2 rivers. One of these rivers was the Chao Phraya in Bangkok, Thailand. The other was the Mekong. The Lan Xang River was also created as a result of a fight. In this story, 2 brothers were fighting over a pair of elephant tusks from the father left them. One brother cut the other into a half, so all that was left was the top half of his body. He had no legs. He couldn't walk. He could only crawl. So he crawled into Lan Xang River. This is where the name comes from. Nam means river. Xang means crawl. Once he was in the river, he became Ai Tong Quang. Ai Tong Quang was the giant snake that used to live at the end of Lan Xang River, where it meets the Mekong. He used to stop boats from passing and was a very dangerous snake until one day he was killed. So, if you go down to the place where 2 rivers meet, you will see a big rock in the water. This, according to tradition, is the body of Ai Tong Quang. Another story this time is about the origin of Mount Phusi, or Phusi Mountain. In this story, the Queen Sita from Ramayana lived in Luang Prabang royal palace. One day, the queen was very hungry for mushrooms, but she didn't leave the palace. She asked the Monkey King or Hanuman to bring her some mushrooms. Of course, said Hanuman. He was a little bit relieved about simply getting mushrooms. However, his relief didn't last long. These mushrooms, said the queen, they are very specific kind of mushroom. The kind of mushroom that I want comes from Sri Lanka. Hanuman couldn't believe it, even though he could fly. Sri Lanka was still a long way to go for mushrooms. But the queen was the queen. He had to do it. He set up to the mountain in Sri Lanka where he knew there was a lot of mushrooms. A while later, he came back with a big basket of mushrooms. Oh, ขอบใจ Hanuman, said the queen. เบิ่งคือน่าแซ่บแท้ Like, oh, thank you, Hanuman. They look delicious, but I'm sorry. They aren't the kind of mushroom that I want to eat right now. Maybe you can try it again. Hanuman was a little bit confused, but of course he agreed. He set up to the mountain again. A while later, he came back with another basket of different mushrooms, but it's still the wrong kind of mushroom that the queen wants. Your Majesty, said Hanuman, perhaps you can tell me the name of the specific kind of mushroom that you want, and that way would be easier for me to bring it to you. Sorry, Hanuman, said the queen. I can't. You see, the problem with this, the kind of mushroom that a queen wants is called Nun, or the monkey ear mushrooms. The queen knew that if she turned this Hanuman, she would upset the monkey king. So instead, she kept sending him up to the mountain and hoping he would bring the right one. Hanuman kept on going up to the mountain and kept on bringing the wrong kind of mushrooms until suddenly he had an idea. He set up to the mountain again. After a while, he was back. This time, he didn't have the basket of mushrooms. He had the whole top of the mountain. He put the mountain top in front of the queen and said, "There, your majesty, the kind of mushroom that you want must be there somewhere." So, the mountain has stood in front of the palace ever since. It named after the Queen Sida. Phu is the Lao word for mountain. Si came from the Queen Sida. That is why we call it Phusi. End of the story. But the story that I want to tell you now for the rest of the show is about two different Luang Prabang mountains, Phu Thao and Phu Nan. So, first of all. Long ago, there was a poor family. A father and 12 daughters were searching for food in the forest. They went day and day into the forest until they were very tired. They stopped at a clearing to have a rest. "Kids, here's some bamboo," said father. "You all can go and fill up this bamboo with water. The river is over there. I will be here." In fact, the father has planned to abandon his daughters because he was very poor. He couldn't take care of all of them. The 12 girls didn't know that the father had cut a little hole at the bottom of every piece of bamboo. They went to the river, tried to fill up the bamboos, but they couldn't. They tried again and again all day until it got dark. They returned to the clearing, but when they got there, it was completely empty. "Ipai! Ipai, you said it!" Shout to the girls, like, "Daddy, Daddy, where are you?" When there was no answer, the girls started crying, and they cried until they fell asleep. The next morning, the youngest sister was woken up. She thought that was their father. In fact, it's not. It's a giant, a big little giant. "What are you doing, little girls here?" asked the giant. We are waiting for our father," answered the girl. "Your father is about this tall with the black short hair." "Yes, how did you know that?" "Well, I saw him 5 minutes ago. He was under a mango tree." "A mango tree? Was he okay?" "Yes, he was very happy with eating a bag of mangoes, eating and dancing and singing. don't remember. What was he singing? Oh yes. ดีใจเด้บ่มีลูก12 คนเอกแล้ว Like happy, no more 12 daughters. When the girls heard about this, they started crying again. But the giant offered them to her house. Is a huge palace. So the 12 girls went with the giant to the palace and lived there for many years. But one day the 12 girls were exploring the palace. This is something that made them want to leave the palace. They were walking down to a dark corridor when they came to a room. Inside the room they saw many bones of mice and elephants, even humans. But worse than this, on the shelf inside the jar, they saw a living, beating heart, which is the giant's heart. When they saw this, they started running away from the palace. Eventually, they arrived at the city of the king Balukhsen. In the city, the king saw that there were beautiful ladies. So he married them, all of them. When the giant heard about this, she was very angry and she transformed herself to be a beautiful woman. This giant, she had planned to go to the king's palace to be his queen. But before she left, she told her adopted daughter, her name Gang Hee, to take care of her heart. Gang Hee, I keep my heart inside the room down the corridor, make sure it's safe, and I will make sure those 12 girls suffer. The next morning, the giant set up to the king's palace. When she got there, the king said she was so beautiful lady. So he married her too. Now, the 12 girls were moved to stay in another part of the palace. They were very sad, but it's not sad for enough. The little queen. One day the giant queen pretended to be sick. The king went to get the Mordu or astrologer to find out what was wrong. Meanwhile, the giant queen transformed herself to be a Mordu and turned the king. Your Majesty, I am very sorry to tell you about your wife's sickness. The reason why she is sick is because of 12 sisters. What we need to do is to take out the eyes of them. The eyes must be sent to the giant's palace. Meanwhile, the girls must be sent away, never to return to a cave in the far, far north. The giant queen knew that the 12 girls wouldn't live for long without their eyes. But she didn't know that her servants forgot to take all the eyes out. There was one eye of the youngest sister left. With his eye, she could see things like small insects inside the cave. They were able to be alive by biting these insects until one day the youngest sister, Jantapitu, gave birth. After she gave birth, she saw something brightly colored in the cave. She took her baby, the baby boy, and went to see it. When she got closer, she saw it was a rooster. Big dear rooster. Jantapitu was thinking how to cook the rooster when suddenly it spoke. I am special rooster, said the rooster. I'm from the heaven. I'm here to protect your son. Every day I have to fly out to collect food to feed your son to make him stronger and growing fast. This is exactly what the rooster did. The boy grew up a strong man, and one day he decided to go off the cave with the rooster. They went to the local villages and entered many competitions like boat racing, rooster fights, and buffalo fights, and so on. They won every competition they played. One day the king heard about this skilful boy. He ordered him to his court. I have heard people talking about you, boy. They say you win many competitions. What is your name? I have no name, Your Majesty. Where are you from? I'm from far away, Your Majesty. How far? In the far north, Your Majesty. What's the name of the village? I come from your village, Your Majesty. I come from a cave. When the king heard about this, he remembered this was his son. So the first thing the king did was give the boy a name, Putase. The second thing asked about his mother and aunties. When the king asked about this, Prince lied and told the king that his mother and aunties were already dead. The reason why Prince said this is because if the Chen Queen knew that his mother and aunties were still alive, she would have to be killed. Also, if she knew who he was, she would have him killed as well. This is exactly what the Chen Queen tried to do. One morning she pretended to be sick again. And again she transformed herself to be a mortal and turned the king next. Your Majesty, this time your wife is very sick. What we need to do this time is to go to the John's palace to get the medicines. The person who must go there must be put us in. Of course, Prince knew this is a trap, but he almost knew that his mother eyes and auntie eyes were being kept in the John's palace, so he agreed. But before Prince set off, the John Queen wrote a letter. The letter says, "When this man arrives, please kill him." She put it in the bamboo toad to give to her daughter Gang Yi, and then Prince set off into the forest on his journey. After a while, Prince stopped under a banyan tree to rest, and then he fell asleep. While he was sleeping, a hermit appeared in front of him. This hermit had special powers. He knew that something bad would happen with this man, so he pulled the letter out of the bamboo tube and read, This is about killing this man. So he destroyed the letter and wrote the new one. This time the letter says, when this man arrives, please marry him. He's a very nice man. Put it back to Buddhism, and then it disappeared. When Buddhism woke up, he continued his journey. And when he arrived at the Chinese palace, he knocked the door and put his hand on the sword, ready to protect himself from the enemy. But when the door opened, he saw somebody like really beautiful. That was Gang Yi. So Gang he fell in love with her, and he gave her the letter. After Gang He read the letter, she fell in love with Buddhism too. So they married each other and lived together in the palace. One day, Buddhism was exploring the palace when he discovered the room with the giant's heart. But he also saw the eyes of his mother and aunties. When he saw this, all his memories came back. He knew that he couldn't continue staying in the palace anymore. So he had a plan to escape from the palace. He organized a big party and got everybody in the palace Mao Lao. I so drunk that they fell asleep. While they were sleeping, Buddhism went to the room and collected all the eyes and the giant's heart, put it to his bag, and then he left the palace. The next morning, Gang He woke up. She couldn't find Buddhism in the palace. She asked her servant to look for him, but still couldn't see him. After a while, she suspected that he must have gone to his father's palace, so she got her army to follow him. They caught up with Buddhism, who just finished crossing a river. Honey! Honey, please wait for me! I'm here! Shouted Gang He. Buddhism didn't turn around. Gang He called for the second time, but still he didn't turn around. This time he put his fingers into his ears. Gang He called for the third time. This time Buddhism made many bamboo thorns and threw them across the river at Gang He. Gang He destroyed them and then made a big ball of fire and threw it across the river at Gang He. Again Gang He destroyed. Finally, he made the river rise up into a big wall of water. This time, Gang He couldn't destroy it. All she could do just look through the water as Buddhism walked away. Gang He was so sad, so heartbroken that she died right there by the river bank. But before she died, she turned her face to the Tevada, or God in the heaven, and said, I love my husband so much. I gave him my heart, I gave him everything, but he abandoned me. I do not ask for any explanation why. All I ask is, may he die for love like I have done. So So, when Buddhism arrived at the cave, he put all the ice back into his mother and aunties, and they were able to see again. After that, he set up to the king's palace where the king and the 10 queens were eating lunch. Oh, welcome back, my son. Join us for lunch. Buddhism sat down, put his back on the table. Who's that in the back? Asked the king. Is that the medicine? What I have here isn't the medicine, said Buddhism. Although this have the power of life and death. While Buddhism was saying this, he pulled the heart of the bag. When the Chen Queen saw this, she was very angry. As she transformed herself into a Chen again, she jumped at Buddhism. But before she could get that, Buddhism rubbed his throat and stabbed the heart. Immediately, the giant died right there. So Buddhism explained everything to his father, and the 12 girls were brought back to the palace and lived there happily. But something trouble with Buddhism. You see, he still missed his wife. His love to her was so strong, and her never stopped being strong. Even at the river bank, the sounds of her voice was so sweet to him that he had to use bamboo thorns and fire to silence it. He couldn't bear to hear her voice and turn around to see her face, because if he did, he knew that he couldn't continue helping his mother and aunties. But now he got his mother and aunties back, and they were back to the palace. He couldn't ignore his love anymore. So Buddhism decided to go back to see his wife again. When he arrived at the river bank, he was so sad and so heartbroken to see Gang instantly that he couldn't die and stop his heart. So he died right there. Buddhism died for love, as Gandhi had done. So. So, Buddhism died with his head at the feet of Gandhi. When the Tevada in the heavens saw this, they thought it wasn't right for a man to have his head at the feet of a woman. That would be a bad example for next generation, because wife would look like the head of the family. So they rearranged positions. This time, Gandhi's head was at the feet of Buddhism, and they have stayed like this ever since. So, when you go down to the river after the show, not tonight, next day, you look across the Mekong River, you will see two mountains look like two people lying on their backs. And the mountain in front of you is called Punang, or Girl Mountain. And the small one on the left is called Putao, or Boy Mountain. These, according to traditions, are Putaksen and Gandhi. ขอบใจหลายๆ So that's the end. Thank you for coming and have a good night.
Thank you. Is it okay to take a picture of you?
Yes.
Thank you. Khop jai.
Really? Maybe the end.